in the region that I am serving in Latin America and the Caribbean, the word that comes to my mind is transition. And it starts with me being new and beginning to learn things myself and visit countries for the first time. But in nearly all of the region, we're going through a lot of transition on the fields. And of course, Haiti, with the earthquake, things have been up in the air for all of our personnel in Haiti ever since the earthquake. And they were doing a big push to finish the seminary, and then dedicated the seminary, and then immediately afterwards, when they all thought they were going to finally get a breather and rest and go off for R&R because they'd been pushing so hard for so long, then the earthquake hits and just goes into what we know what happened. And so they have been very stressed, and like was said a little bit ago, just everybody doing their own ministries and then doing other jobs on top of that. And so member care has been very active there and are sending people down to help, to require people to go for R&R and to help take care and to listen and to process through with that. So that has been difficult. One good thing that was mentioned a little bit ago, we do have a strong candidate to take over for the Emmaus Seminary, which has been a big need. And Brian Easley, his wife Leslie, have 4 children. They're going down this week for a visit, Brian and his wife with 1 child. And so that looks like a really good possibility, and that will take a great burden off of the field. So that's a good thing. The radio still needs a director, has needed a director for a while. That is a difficulty in Haiti. But there are some difficulties in Haiti, and it's a difficult place to minister. With privilege to visit there for the first time last September, and it's just amazing how difficult it is to minister there. So Ecuador we visited there for the first time, and don't really see a lot of transition in Ecuador, which is nice. It's a pretty stable field. We have a pretty large mission body, very international mission body, a lot of cross-cultural marriages. But things are pretty stable there in relation to other countries in the South American region. Alfredo, who has been the president of the denomination with which we partner in Colombia, has been reelected. So that poses a few challenges for the missionary team on how best to work with him and do what we want to do as far as church planting. But the missionary family there is quite stable. So in Brazil, it's kind of like a whole new chapter starting in Brazil. Everything that OMS has done up until now is kind of one chapter, and a new chapter is starting, because we have right now, whereas in the past most OMS personnel have lived fairly close together, oftentimes in the same city. Now we have 1 mission unit way up in the north in Belém, and 2 mission units in the south, 3,000 miles apart. And so they see each other at most twice a year. And Micah is the new field leader there, and Micah has a challenge in front of him. He's young and new at field leadership, and he's working alongside Jacques, who is a veteran, type A, very powerful Brazilian leader. But I've talked to Micah quite a bit, and I know he's up for the challenge, and he will do a good job. But that's a big transition in Brazil, a lot of change. It's been mentioned about the summit we have in the first week of March, and so that will be some key meetings on what direction, how we partner with CONIM in Brazil. So pray for that. Colombia, there is a huge transition in Colombia because of personnel. We have at this point 1 career missionary in Colombia, Janine Brabon, with Leslie Herman resigning and Mark Whittig resigning. We have 2 short-termers that will be gone by mid-year, and Janine is the only career missionary, and so that puts a big change on how we can work and what we can do and how we partner in Colombia. The advantage is we have very strong, mature Colombian ministry partners, and that is wonderful. And so, but there's a lot of transition on how we do this, and the whole idea of internationalization and working with Igleco and going into the DR alongside them, with them, that's in the process. And so this is a lot of transition. Mexico, the transition theme continues because we have few units there right now on the field, The Lindsays retired in August, and once they retire, we have 3 single missionary career units in Mexico with 2 short-termers. And so whereas in the recent past we had a number of missionaries in Mexico, now we have very few. We have a number in the pipeline, so it will change hopefully in the near future. But Mexico has gone through a big transition with leadership personnel, and so we need to pray for that. One good thing in Mexico is that Miguel, what's his last name?
Romero.
Miguel Romero has just been reelected as the president of the national church that we partner with there, and that's a very positive step because he will bring stability. He continues bringing stability at this time, which is very important for us. Uruguay, not much transition or change there. Uruguay continues to be a difficult field to minister. Not very open to the gospel. We have not visited there yet. Look forward to visiting there soon. But it continues to need a lot of our prayer so we can know how best to minister in Uruguay. So when I look at the Latin American region, the word that comes to my mind is transition, because myself being new and so much going on in most of our fields. So pray that God will just guide and give wisdom as we seek how best to go through transition. For us, it's unknown, but for God, it's known, and there's no unknown factor there. And so we rest in that and seek wisdom as we go forward.